Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, better known as Marc Zicree of Space Command. So we're here today to talk, of all things, about why Tom Cruise matters. Okay, so what prompted this was they just released on home video, on Blu-ray and DVD, etc., and download, a movie that Tom Cruise did recently called Edge of Tomorrow. And I think and it wasn't a success in theaters as I understand, and a part of the reason might have been that the title suggests, it sounds like a soap opera, tune in to Edge of Tomorrow to find out if the identical twins will marry BB, or whatever. So, but it's actually a very good science fiction film, and I really enjoyed it, and I want to recommend it to you. And it's very funny because clearly the studio decided that Edge of Tomorrow is a weak title as well, because they've actually taken the ad line, and if you buy the Blu-ray, it looks like the ad line is actually the title of the movie. Live, die, repeat. Very punchy, and actually accurate to the movie. And this is the 3D version of the film. I have a 3D TV, so I can watch films in 3D, but my television magically converts 2D to 3D as well, so I can watch 2D movies in 3D. So I've seen Aliens in 3D, and boy, is that a great movie in 3D. I highly recommend it. And I recommend Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. And here's why. And basically, I want to talk about Tom Cruise in general, because he got a bad rap, the whole thing with Oprah and all of that. And for a while, it looked like his career was on the skids. And it looked like he was precariously in danger of having what happened to Mel Gibson happen to him, where you have certain actors who are like just astonishing stalwarts, male and female actors who are doing wonderful films, and all of a sudden they're not doing movies anymore. They're at least not in leads, or they're in, direct-to-DVD or whatever. And sadly, that's happened to Mel Gibson and many of our favorite actors. I mean, where's Bruce Willis nowadays? They end up doing, they end up not having the careers that their talent might deserve. So, but Tom Cruise fought back, and he seems to be doing well again, which is good because I think he deserves it. And he's done many science fiction films that I very much like. Certainly, I liked Oblivion last year. I thought that was a very good film, very well designed. I had lunch with the director not long ago, a very smart guy who's now doing the Twilight Zone movie. We'll see how that turns out. But Tom also did Minority Report, which I like very much, and even War of the Worlds had some very good sequences. It was like he shouldn't really have been the main character the way that his character was written. His son was the brave one, and you wanted to go off with the son, who goes off to fight with the army and fight the Martians. So that was a little strange, but still there's great set pieces, and it's not Tom Cruise's fault the way the character was conceived. They were trying to update War of the Worlds, and by and large they did a very interesting film. Beyond that, Tom Cruise has done, other science fiction films as well that have been, well worth watching. And I think consistently his bag of tricks is good. One thing that I find that I liked very much on the DVD of Edge of Tomorrow was they show the making of, and they show how hard Tom Cruise works and how committed he is. In this film, they use practicals, the super suits that the soldiers wear. Oh, and by the way, the reason I think this movie also didn't do well was because, the alien invasion, big war movie kind of film that I think a lot of us wanted. We were so bummed out by movies like Skyline and Battleship. They were so disappointing that I think probably the audience said, oh no, another one of those, and avoided it. Whereas this is the one that I think people have been waiting for, the one that actually does pay off. Also, I think that people were thinking it might be Groundhog Day meets War of the Worlds, and and it was kind of like, well, how good is that going to be? But surprisingly, I think it's very good and very entertaining. And Doug Liman, who directed Bourne Identity and is the director here, I think he really brought a lot to it, and rather than a lot of CG effects, nowadays they are trying much more to have what are called practicals. So the power suits, it's cranes, it's wire work to give the impression of power suits, superpowers, super agility. Additionally, like on Star Wars, I know JJ is going to be going back to physical models and full-size spaceships, and I think this is good. And certainly in Space Command, we're heading toward that as well. Well, obviously there'll always be CG, but I think real sets, we're talking about doing practical aliens and things like that, very inhuman, but it's a fascinating challenge and very exciting, actually. But back to Tom Cruise. So, it's, I think that the other part, of course, is that, people are a little weirded out by his whole Scientology thing, and it is, it is a little strange, and, I can understand that it's, you know, how that kind of enters into the equation. I remember years ago I was in Westwood, and there was someone proselytizing for Scientology and wanting me to take a personality test, and I said, I'm sorry, but I can't believe in anything that was cooked up by a science fiction writer. And the guy went ballistic. He started yelling at me. Totally unaware, of course, that I am a science fiction writer, which is why I wouldn't follow any religion created by me. But we'll see where that leads. But actually, my friend and mentor Theodore Sturgeon, one of the great science fiction writers, was actually at the party where L. Ron Hubbard said, I've got this idea. And someone said to him, if you write that as a novel, you'll earn $1,000, and if you make it a religion, you'll be rich for the rest of your life. And L. Ron Hubbard took that to heart. And actually, some of the first followers of Scientology were some of the science fiction crowd, like Forey Ackerman. I think John W. Campbell may have flirted with it. I know A.E. Van Vogt did. So, very, very interesting. And but of course, I don't know much. It's easy to rag on Scientology. I don't really know much about it. It seems odd, but I watched The Master, which I thought was a great film, very disturbing. But I think almost any religion seems strange if you're on the outside looking in. I mean, for instance, very few people point out that Jesus was the only guy who came back from the dead where people didn't run screaming. I mean, very, very close to zombie, but but it worked for him. So anyway, but basically the whole gist of this little Mr. Sci-Fi video is, if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, check it out. I think you may well like it. I certainly did. Emily Blunt is very impressive in it too, in the female lead. There's a lot of great stuff in it. So beyond that, if you haven't seen some of Tom Cruise's other science fiction films, watch them as well. I think you'll enjoy them. He works very hard. I think he deserves to be a movie star. I'm glad that he's come back from Tinseltown, cemetery in essence. I don't think that the whims of public opinion should kill people's careers. And so that's it for now. We're in post on the first Space Command film, ramping up for the second. Things are very exciting. People are buying shares in the second film. It's a very, very cool time for me, and I'm really thrilled. So again, if you want to talk about Tom Cruise or science fiction movies or whatever you'd like to comment on, please do. Spread the word. Let people know about the Mr. Sci-Fi videos. Brandon Braga was at the gym today. He has Star Trek and Cosmos and many other great shows. Saying, how do I check out Mr. Sci-Fi? So again, it's let people know that it's SCI-FI, Mr. Sci-Fi. And, so comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll be talking to you again real soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.